Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become comfortable in a nice seated position where you can sit and have your spine and the back of your neck sit nice and tall and long, opening up your chest and opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. Let's gently close our eyes and soften our thoughts. Soften our eyes. Soften our shoulders. And soften our heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale, and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or a phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the third niyama. And reminder, the niyamas are the guidelines on how to interact with yourself. The third niyama is tapas, and that is Sanskrit for self-discipline. Tap comes from the Sanskrit word heat, burn, and we practice tapas by using self-control and discipline. It is your willpower, passion, discipline, and determination that keeps the controlled fire within, that fire in your belly that leads to transformation. For example, getting on a yoga mat, it can be hard every single day or periodically. It could be hard. It makes an effort. You have to make an effort to get on your yoga mat. But those of you who have the discipline of a regular practice can see and feel the transformation in your body and in your mind and in your spirit. So for this morning's pranayama, the breathing technique, we're going to do Kapalabahti. And Kapalabahti is a breathing technique that has a stimulating, cleansing, and heating effect on the body. Kapalabahti, it reverses our natural breath pattern, which is an active inhale and a passive exhale. With Kapalabahti, we breathe the breath in passively about halfway, then rapidly and repeatedly use the stomach muscles to blast air through our nostrils. We use that belly like a pump, and that creates a fire in the belly. So let's practice that a little bit. I have a tissue that might come in handy. So again, it's a passive inhale, but we're still inhaling halfway. And then actually, if you put your hands on your tummy and maybe help with that, creating that pump action, you're going to get that effect a little bit easier, I think. So inhale halfway, and then I'm going to actually get up on my knees so you can see this a little bit better. So inhale, and then inhale again. Inhale again. And one last time, inhale. Great. And then for our meditation this morning, I have a mudra called Rudra Mudra. It's R-U-D-R-A, Rudra Mudra. And this activates the solar plexus chakra. And the solar plexus chakra is exactly where we were just breathing our exhales. And that's, if you study the chakra system, it's a warming effect. It also, it's very creative spot, and lots of emotions are around that. It's literally the fire in your belly that gets you pumped up and excited and revving to go and get that determination, that willpower, that passion, all that stuff comes from right in your solar plexus. So the Rudra activates that solar plexus chakra, and that can create personal transformation by feeding into that passion, that determination, that self-discipline. So the Rudra Mudra is bringing the index finger and the ring finger to your thumb, extending the other two fingers. Middle finger and the pinky are extended. So let's take a few minutes and do a meditation. You can use this, just kind of place it on your lap, or you can use your favorite mudra. And we'll just take a few minutes to do that. Ooh. It was snowing when I set up this morning, so it looks like the sun's starting to try to come out of the clouds. So I didn't block the sun from my mat this morning. So let's just take a few moments for meditation. and you can come back to your normal sitting position. This morning's asana practice, we're going to actually do a few things that they can be standalone practices for yoga. One is called the 5 Tibetan rites, and it's also known as the fountain of youth. So this is actually a practice that the Dalai Lama has done. I don't know if he's still doing it, but it's a practice that's been around for a long, long time. And the 5 Tibetan rites, they're 5 poses. And we actually do these poses a lot during our normal classes. But what's unique about this, it's kind of, well, I won't say that, but I was going to say it's unique in that you do these 5 poses. You'll do the first pose, and you can do that in a repetition of from 1 time on up to 21. And for some reason, 21 is the cutoff number. So you can do the first pose 1 or 3 times, which is what we'll do today. And then they suggest going up in increments. Like if you start off with 3, maybe next time you do it, increase it to 5, and then next time you do it, increase it to 7 to build yourself up to the 21 repeats. So again, you're doing 5 different poses. Each pose is done 1 to 21 times. And that's called the Tibetan rites, the fountain of youth. And I found a few on YouTube, and I'm always interested in the comments. And it was very interesting to see the comments. I mean, people have been doing this for years. There was one person who said, I'm 69, I feel like 49, I've been doing this for 20 years. So it is effective for people. I think, the key thing to think about is tapas, self-discipline, self-control, whatever works for you, to get you on the mat or get you exercising, that should be your passion. So I'm gonna sprinkle the 5 Tibetan rites in today. We're not gonna do them one after another. They're gonna get sprinkled into what else we're gonna do. The other one we are gonna do, and that I'm gonna do straightforward from start to finish, is sun salutation. And last week we did the moon salutation. There's the sun salutation, which is more a traditional salutation that we do in yoga practice. And there's 3 versions rather to sun salutations. There's sun salutation A, which is when you hear the term, oh, do a vinyasa, that's kind of doing a salutation, sun salutation A. Today we're going to do the B, and there is a C. So A and C are kind of short versions, B's a longer version. So we're going to do B, start to finish. Actually, there's a Tibetan rite thrown into that one too. So again, the point is, whatever you can do that works for you, that creates that self-discipline to get you unified in your mind and your body and your spirit to help you as a person. So let's start with shoulder shrugs, because we're actually going to be doing quite a number of planks today. So let's just loosen that up. Shoulders, relieve any tension. So again, with our shoulder shrugs, we want to just kind of rotate our shoulders in a very gentle, soothing way, not rubbing them up to create more tension. So just kind of loosen them up, clockwise, counterclockwise. And then we'll do some sun breaths / chest openers. So we're going to inhale, bringing our fingertips to the mat. Inhale, lifting our hands up overhead. And then palms come together. On the exhale, bring the palms down to your chest. Inhale, you're going to open your hands up like goalpost hands and try to bring them as far back as comfortable, opening up your chest. And then exhale, we're going to bring the palms back together, Anjali Mudra. And then inhale up. And then exhale, bringing them down. We'll do that again. Inhale up. Big inhale, exhale down. Inhale, open your hands, opening up your chest. Exhale, closing the hands back together. Inhale up. And then exhale down. And we'll do that one last time. Inhale up. Big inhale. Exhale down. Inhale, open. And exhale, close. Inhale, up. And with control, exhale down. Again, Tapas is all about self-control. And that's, you haven't noticed already, kind of the style of yoga I like to do is that it's slow, but it's also with a lot of control. Like you really have control over that pose. You're not just kind of winging into it. So let's roll down on our mat. And we're gonna straighten our legs first, actually, and then roll down with the arms stretched out. Roll down so you can feel every vertebrae on the way down. And then just a review of our mountain pose, our essentials of good posture. We'll do it in a reclined mountain pose this morning. So pointing your toes up to the sky as if you're standing on your feet. Your legs are nice and straight and strong with the help of your mat. But there's a gentle bend in your knees. Your navel's tucked to your spine and bringing that heart back down to the mat. And this is probably the key thing today. We're going to do a lot of core work. So really feel and remember how this tucking your navel to the spine, bringing that lower back down to the mat feels. Then our shoulders are relaxed, roll back into the mat. Our head, or our spine and the back of our neck are nice and long. So we're going to try to tuck our chin down toward our chest to really elongate the back of our neck. And the crown of our head is reaching up to the short end of the mat. That's our essentials of good posture in a reclined way. So then we're going to bring our knees to our chest, give them a nice hug. And then we'll bring our legs into a chair position, so our legs are at a 90-degree angle. We'll have our toes pointing up toward the sky. And we're going to put our hands, interlace our fingers and put our hands behind our head. And this is just going to create a hammock. It's not going to, we're not going to put any effort in that. So your elbows are out to the side and your head's just resting on your hands. We're going to kick our right leg up so that we're pointing to the sky and then bringing it back down, and then kick our left leg up so it's pointing to the sky. You can either do that with your sole of your foot or pointing your toes. Either one works well. And then we're going to bring both feet up and pointing to the sky. And then bring it back down to the chair. We're going to lift our shoulders and our chest, not pulling our head up. We're going to lift our shoulders and our chest up toward our knees. So pull it up and then rest it back down. And using your shoulders and your chest, pull it up toward your knees. And keeping your elbows out as straight as possible. And then back down. And one last time, pulling your shoulders and your chest up toward your knees. and then back down. So now we're going to combine that. So we're going to do a right leg up, back down. Inhale, left leg up, back down. And then when we do both legs, we're going to put both legs up and lift our shoulders and chest up toward our knees and back down. So we'll do that 2 more times. Point the right leg up, back down. Left leg goes up. I should slow down with a little bit more control. Back down. And then both legs up and lifting our chest and our shoulders up and back down. Right foot goes up, then back down. Left foot goes up, and then back down. And then both feet go up, chest and shoulders go up, and then back down. And I've lost count already. We'll do one more. Point the toes up and back down. Left toes up and back down. And both toes up, chest and shoulders come up and back down. So that is a not the Tibetan rite, but it's a modification that you could do, and we'll go to the actual Tibetan rite. It's actually, they have a nickname for it called the J pose. So release your hands, and again, you can choose to stay and do what we just did, or this one. This one, your core, it'll really show you how well your core is built up. Fire in your belly, how well its strength is at this point. So hands alongside of you. Actually, I like the version where I tuck my hands under my butt and I kind of bring my 2 index fingers together and have that. So that helps me to keep my lower back down toward the mat. So again, we're going to do what we just did, raising our legs straight up. So right leg comes up and then back down. Left leg comes up and then back down. And then both legs come up and back down. We'll do that again. Right leg comes up and back down. I think it works better with you pointing your toes. Left leg comes up and back down. And then both legs come up and back down. And we'll do it one last time. Right leg up and back down. Left leg up, back down. And both legs up and back down. So then we're going to bring our chest and shoulders up. So we're just going to lift up. Again, it probably feels like you're lifting your head up and not your shoulders and your chest, but really kind of concentrate and focus on your shoulders and your chest, lifting like when we do cobra and back down. And it doesn't have to come up very far. Just lifting your chest and your shoulders is the main objective. So now we're going to put that all together. So we're going to lift our right leg up, bring it back down, lift our left leg up and bring that back down. And we're going to lift both legs and our chest and shoulders up in this last one. And this is the J pose. This is the Tibetan right pose. So then bring it back down. So what they do is they continuously do that J pose. So again, it can go from 1 time or up to 21 times. But I like easing into it, warming up and going into it. Works well for me. So again, we're going to do that 2 more times. So lift the right leg up and then the left leg up. And then both legs and shoulders And chest come up into that J pose. And one last time, right leg comes up and back down. Left leg comes up and back down. Both legs come up, shoulder and chest come up, and back down. Well done, everyone. I remember seeing this 5 Tibetan rites years ago and not being able to do that at all. So it just shows how with a continual yoga practice, how my core has been built up. So we're gonna roll up. You can bring your knees to your chest, maybe give them a nice hug. You can roll over to your side and come up to your hands and knees, or if you like, you can roll up using kind of the fast version of rolling up on your spine, coming to a seated position, and then coming over your legs into your hands and knees. We'll meet at tabletop. And actually, right before we get into tabletop, let's just do a few shoulder shrugs to loosen up our shoulders again. In case that last Tibetan rite kind of put tension in your shoulders. And just kind of loosen up. Alrighty, let's go back to our tabletop. Wrists are right below the shoulders, knees right below our hips. Navel's tucked to the spine, always a good thing. And then we're gonna just turn our head slightly to the right, really gently, just to make sure there's no tension in our shoulders as we do that. And then come back to center, and then inhale, turning our head to the left, and then back to center. Inhale to the right, and back to center, and then to the left again, back to center. And we'll do some cat-cows now. So again, in tabletop, we're pushing down into our hands, creating an equal distribution of weight. Navel's tucked to the spine. We're gonna round our back, dropping our head and tailbone down for cat. Ooh, that stretch feels great. And then lifting our head and tailbone up, sending our drishti straight ahead, our vision straight ahead. And then rounding our back to cat again. Head and tail go down. And then lifting our head and tail up, sending our gaze straight ahead. And we'll do that a few more times, synchronizing your breath. Exhale with cat. Inhale with cow. Or vice versa. Whatever feels right for your body. You can have an inhale on the cat and exhale on the cow. But usually exhales when you're contracting, and inhale is when you're expanding. And then come back to tabletop, neutral spine. We'll do a few bird dogs, and we're going to bring our elbow to our knee underneath our torso after we extend them. And I actually discovered this week, making new discoveries all the time, that if I turn my toes under on the mat, so that I usually have it so that the tops of my feet are down on the mat, but then turn my toes so that they're curled under on the mat. my stability for bird dog, which is extending our arm and leg, is a lot better. So I welcome you to try that out, see if it works for you. So we're going to extend our right leg out, pointing the toe, making sure our hips are parallel to the mat and not kind of tilting up. And then lifting our left arm up. And then inhale, exhale, bring our knee and elbow together underneath our torso and extending on the inhale. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, extend arm and leg out. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale, contract. Inhale, extend. Exhale, contract. And one last time, inhale, extend. And then bring both back down to the mat. And we'll do that on the other side. So lifting our left leg up. And then sending our right hand straight ahead. Exhale, bring your elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. And one last time, extend. And bring hand and knee back down to tabletop. Okay, so we're going to go into another Tibetan pose. This one's called the supported camel. And we actually do this weekly with our supported back bend. So we don't usually do it on our knees though. We do it standing. So if you have a towel or a blanket, or you can take your mat and curl it up a couple times, support your knees. It's a little harsh on your knees. So with the Tibetan supported camel, you can put well, they often have their hands down, but I like the supported version for us. So remember how we usually do it. We put our hands on our hips, fingers pointing down, shoulders are relaxed and rolled back, chin is tucked toward our chest. And we just drop our shoulders back. And this is a very different experience than when we do it when we're standing. It's interesting. So that's part of it for them. They actually go and they come back up to a more vertical position and look down. So you breathe out, looking down to the earth. And you breathe in, bringing your shoulders back, your chest out, chin tucked to your chest. And breathing in, coming back to vertical, kind of bending our head down, looking down for breathing out, and then back to supported back bend. Now, if you see a video of this, oftentimes you'll see that the head goes way back, and I'm opposed to that. Our head weighs from 10 to 12 pounds, and when we are in our essentials of good posture, our mountain pose, that's what it weighs, 10 to 12 pounds. When we tilt our head, like if we're looking at devices, or if we bring it back, which we don't typically do, there is a kind of a physics thing that happens where the angle of your head, when it starts to go down or back, the weight of your head increases, it actually doubles. So that's why I don't send my head back, because it's not used to that. I don't want to put that 20-pound pressure on the back of my neck. So just do the pose like what we typically do with our chin tucked in and looking up. So that's a Tibetan. And then the next one, go back to our regular mat. Tuck your toes under, take your hands and walk them back, coming into our squat, and then pushing down into mountain pose. This is another Tibetan rite, and this is supposed to activate all your chakras. I am very prone to motion sickness, so this actually I have to do it very, very slowly because I get motion sick. So it's a spin, it's the Tibetan spin. So you bring your arms out, and we're gonna do it 3 times, but I'm gonna stop at each full 360 just to get my head back to normal. Sorry, but skaters and ballet dancers, they do these spins all the time. I don't know how they do it, but whatever. So we're gonna spin, and you can look down toward the ground if that helps. I even tried it with my eyes closed, and that sort of helped too. So there's one spin. And these are always with your arms out and always clockwise. So coming around to our second spin, and we'll do one more. Kudos to you people who aren't motion sick. Okay, and then if you're a little bit dizzy still, maybe bring your feet hip width apart, put your hands on your hips. Taking a few deep breaths. There we go. So we've done 3 of the 5 Tibetan rites already. We did the J pose, we did the supported camel, we just did the spin. Now we're going to do 2 more, or actually 1 more, and it's going to be encompassed in the sun salutation B. So we're going to do the sun salutation B, I think 2 times, maybe 3. I'm looking at my clock, so I'm trying to figure out if we can manage 3 of them. So we'll do those. So starting off in mountain pose, we're going to sweep our hands up overhead, and then we're going to come into chair pose. So send your hips down toward your ankles, tucking your navel to your spine, very important, keeping your knees behind your toes into chair pose. And then bring your hands down to the mat. Straighten your legs, half forward fold, hands to shins. Hands back down to the mat, and extend both feet to the back of the mat, coming into plank pose. Plank pose, our shoulders are right above our elbows as well as our wrists. Heels are pushing back, navel's tucked to the spine. And we're going to come down either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, down to the mat. And then we're going to lift up, keeping our elbows tucked to the side, to cobra. And then we're going to push up into up dog and then down dog. And that's the next Tibetan rite. They call it 2 dogs. It's up dog, so come up to up dog, flip your toes around, and come into down dog. So the up dog, down dog is one of the Tibetan rites. So we'll just walk out here for a moment. So they actually kind of go back and forth between, I'll just show you, it's like up, down dog to up dog to down dog, and they do that again 1 or to 21 times. But we're going to do it as it is in the sun salutation B. So we're going to bring our right foot between our hands. So lift up the right foot, guide it up toward the top of the mat so it lands between your hands. Then we're going to sweep our hands up as we push down to our front foot, come into a high lunge. And then bring our hands back down. Send our right foot back into plank again. Come down, chaturanga, knees, chest, chin. Come into cobra. Come into up dog. Flip our toes around. Come into downward dog. This is our second downward dog. We'll walk out here for a moment. And then we'll bring our left foot up between our hands, coming into that lunge position. And then sweeping our hands up, pushing down into our front foot, whoop, whoop, whoop. Coming up into high lunge. And then back down. And if that's a little shaky, like it looked like for me too, you can pivot your back foot down, come into warrior one. That works too. So again, we're going to bring our left foot back, coming back to plank, back down, chaturanga, knees, chest, chin. Coming up to cobra, tuck our toes under, come up to up dog, and then lifting our hips up to downward dog. And on this third of the two dogs, we're gonna walk our hands, or bring your feet up to your hands any way you'd like. So you're in forward fold. Then bring your hands to your shins, half forward fold, straighten out your back, nice and long. And then bring your hands back down to the mat, bending your knees. We're gonna come into chair pose from the bottom up. And then come all the way up to mountain pose. Hands come together, hands come to heart center. And that's sun salutation B. So we'll do that a couple more times. And again, this is something that is a standalone practice that you can do, the sun salutations. This one incorporates a lot of things. So let's try it again, catch our breath. So sweeping our hands up overhead, we're gonna come into chair pose, bending our knees, sending our hips down toward the mat, sending our hands down to the mat, half forward fold, hands to shin, then hands back down in the mat, feet go to the bottom of the mat, coming into plank pose. Navel tucked to the spine, keeping your elbows tucked to your sides. Come down to the mat, coming into cobra, pushing up into cobra, then up into up dog, flipping our toes, come into down dog. Walk out for a moment. Then we're going to send our right foot between our hands, coming into that lunge position, knee over ankle, pushing down our foot. We're going to sweep our hands up, come up to high lunge, or again, you can pivot your back foot down so that you're in warrior one, a little bit more stable. And then bring your hands back down. Send your foot back to meet the other, coming back to plank pose. Coming down, chaturanga, knees, chest, chin. Coming up into cobra, and then pushing further into up dog, and then downward dog, the two dogs. Walk out your feet for a moment. And then we'll send our left foot between our right hands, coming into the lunge position. And we'll come into high lunge or warrior one. Up. And then back down. Sending your foot back, coming back to plank pose. Bringing yourself back down to the mat, knees, chest, chin, and then pushing up into cobra, and then up to up dog, and then to downward dog. The two dogs. And this one, we just gently walk our feet up to our hands, bringing our hands to our shins, flattening out our back, bringing our hands back down to the mat, bending our knees. We're going to come into chair pose, sweeping our hands up, and then push up into mountain pose. Hands come together, hands come to heart center. Whew. We'll take a breather for a moment, and we do have time for one more, yay. I know you're all cheering. Can't wait to do it. Couple deep breaths. Okay, one last time. Sweeping our hands up, bending our knees, sending our hips down toward our ankles, coming into chair, bringing our hands to the mat, and then our hands to our shins, half forward fold, really flattening out that back of your neck. And then send your hands back down to the mat, send your feet to the back of the mat, coming into plank. Nails tucked to the spine. Chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin, down to the mat. And then gently pushing up into cobra, extending your arms fully for up dog, and then sending your hips up to the air for downward dog. Walk out here for a moment. And then send your right foot between your hands, coming into a high lunge, pushing down, lifting up. And then hands come back down to the mat. Foot returns to the other, coming back to plank, keeping it elbows tucked to the side, knees, chest, chin, your chaturanga, up to cobra, up to up dog, and then up to downward dog. Walk out here for a moment or two. Almost there, everyone. And then we'll bring our left foot between our hands, high lunge, sweeping our hands up, pushing down into our foot. And then bringing our hands back down to the mat, sending our foot back, coming back into plank. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga down. Then keeping our elbows tucked to the side, up to cobra, and then up to up dog, and then up to downward dog. Walk out here, and then slowly walk your way up to your hands. Forward fold, bringing your hands to your shins, flattening out your back once again. And then bringing your hands down to the mat, bending your knees. We're going to come into chair pose. So hips are coming back down toward the mat, sweeping our hands up, navels tucked to the spine, and then sweeping our hands all the way up to mountain pose. Hands come together, hands come to heart center. All righty. Well done. So we've now done 4 of the 5 rites. In this last sequence, we'll do the last. And I should mention, these are not, the 5 Tibetan rites are not in the order that they usually do them. It just kind of worked for my class today. So let's bring our pinky toes out to the edge of the mat, tucking the heels in. We'll come into our wide-legged squat, our old friend, bringing our hips down to the mat, elbows tucked to the inner part of our knees. And just rest here for a moment. And then bring our seat down, coming into staff pose. So staff pose, our body's at an L shape. Toes are flexed up to the sky. If you want, you can make little fists and push down into the mat, lifting your hips off the mat, coming back down. Really feel that good connection, making that L more pronounced. That's staff pose. And then we're going to go into a few half boats. So we're going to lift our legs up, keeping that staff pose, seat position firm. And you can keep your shins or calves parallel to the mat by keeping your hands tucked underneath your knees. And we'll just bring the right toe down and tap it, and then the left toe down, tap it, and then both toes down, tap it. So right again, bringing it back, left, bringing it back, and both bringing it back. And if you'd like, you can alternate that with releasing your hands. Left toe comes down, both toes come down. Release your hands in the next one. Right toe comes down, left toe comes down, both toes come down. And you can tuck it back in or keep them out. We'll just do a few more of these. And back down, right toe down, left toe down, both toes down. And one last time, right toe, left toe, and both toes. And then we'll come into our last of the Tibetan rites. It's called reverse table. This is a pose we don't often do. And again, I caution you, this one has typically the head reaching back. I'm going to have us keep our chin to our chest so that the head doesn't drop back. So feet are hip width apart, our hands coming back of us with our fingertips pointing toward our feet. Just kind of get into a nice comfortable position here. And then we're going to do this 3 times. So we're going to lift our tummy up toward the sky, keeping our chin tucked toward our chest, and coming into a table. And then lowering back down for 1. And then we'll go back into it for 2. And then back down. And the last one, lifting our tummy up toward the sky for 3. And then back down. And then we'll roll down. And you can use whichever way you want. Use the express method where I tuck my hands under my knees and just roll back, because I'm going to bring my knees to my chest, give them a nice hug, rock so I can give my lower back a nice massage. And then maybe draw some circles with my toes, give my back a different type of massage. And I'm going to reverse that circle. And then coming back, giving my knees to my chest, a nice hug. I'm going to go into a reclined twist. I'm going to send my arms out long from my shoulders. Exhaling, dropping the knees to the right. And then slowly, once my knees have landed, turning my head to the left, look at my left fingertips. And actually, this is the very first twist we've done all day. So I like it. And slowly turn your head back to center. Inhale, lifting your knees back to center. And then exhaling, dropping them over to the left side. And once they've landed, excuse me, slowly turn your head to the right, looking at your right fingertips. And slowly turning your head back to center again, lifting your legs back to center, and then sending your feet down to the bottom of the mat, preparing for Shavasana. So let your feet, heels come out to the corners of the mat. Just relax everything into this mat. Arms come out at an angle from your body, the palms facing up to the sky. Shoulders are nice and snug in the mat. Spine is nice and long, making contact with the mat. And then just relax. Maybe take a few deep inhales and then exhales. You can exhale through your mouth, just letting your body drop deeper and deeper into the mat. Today I have an excerpt from Deborah Adele's book called Yamas and Niyamas, and this is in the chapter of Tapas. And she said, whether we practice tapas by showing up at our mat for a regular posture practice or through constant acts of selfless service, we offer ourselves to the next higher version of us. We willingly stand in the heat so we might produce luscious bounty with our lives. Our debris gets burned away, and we are left more humbled and strengthened by the mystery of what is beyond our grasp of control or understanding.